class spelling, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Let's start our class. Yeah, recollection of previous knowledge. This complete statistics chapter we learned under a title called data handling in our class 7th, in our class 8th. Okay, so this statistics chapter is one sort of extending our knowledge on data and handling of the data, and further representing the data in the form of pictures. So today's our class is about recollecting what knowledge that we have learned or gained in the data handling in our previous classes. So coming to the first, as a part of introduction, in your day-to-day life, you might have come across information such as runs made by a batsman in the last 10 test matches. For example, if you see in the last 10 test matches, KL Rahul, Rohit Sharma doing excellent job. Okay, so if you observe the runs scored by a batsman in the last 10 test matches will give the performance, will give the form of a person. So how far we can rely upon that person. Then number of wickets taken by a bowler in the last 10 maybe test matches or ODIs, that gives one sort of a confidence. When can we allow him to bowl? Is it opening we will be giving for him as a opening bowler? Are we going to use any in middle order time, or to the strengthened batsman are we going to take that bowler? So some sort of strategies we can make out by watching his figures of wickets and run rate that he has given, means runs per over how many he is giving, what is the overall average runs that he has given. So these all we will collect figures in our hand and then take a decision. Coming to the another, marks scored by the students. Marks scored by the students of your class in mathematics tells me where am I required to help the children, how I have to change my strategy of teaching. Should I start from the scratch of the concepts to make the children fire better, or if the students are very good, all I can in one go, okay, let's start from this topic only straight away. Or I can decide where exactly children require my help, how I can change my strategies of teaching and methods of like conducting any remedial classes. All these strategies we can make use once I know the scores scored by students. In the recent also, I have collected from you, especially from the 9th B section, by giving their marks in first monthly test, second monthly test, periodic test. So their marks I have posted into the group, and I asked them to observe their marks, identify where do they are actually lacking. If they're absent, why do they are absent? If they are present and score less marks, reasons behind that scoring less marks. So it's all some sort of analysis we do based on the performance of students in the respective subjects. Coming down to the another important, the practical use, number of storybooks read by each of your friends will tell how best that child is in his English language or in that language, in the vocabulary, how far that improvement has taken place based on his the habit of reading. So normally voracious readers do fetch more sort of like words usage. So it's the reading ability or the habit of reading books will directly impact his language ability, will improve upon his language ability. So this analysis we do, and we suggest normally children to read storybooks, read novels, read magazines, read maybe they interested the websites or make blogs of their choice by writing that whatever he's thinking in his mind, if he is able to present it, that language ability of a person can be seen and can be improvised. So all this number of books read by him, or number of projects, or number of blogs, and number of maybe the articles that he has written, the words that he has used, all that will be depends on his language ability. So we, based on the statistics of a person, like collecting all this data, we will decide, okay, he is already a good at language, and let's start from this point of like uh, from this point, let's improvise him. So we decide from where to start, how to start, what are all the strategies to improvise. If you see most of the nowadays, especially in Olympics and all, you might have observed coaches just they do not sit and keep talking, keep encouraging. Instead, they start using technology to analyze his strength and weakness. If you observe Nirav Chopra, am I right? Nirav Chopra or Neeraj Chopra?
Neeraj
Neeraj
Chopra.
Yeah,
Chopra, sir.
Sir,
who
Neeraj.
brought gold in javelin throw. Analysis is done by his coach. Where exactly he needs to improve upon, what is the angle of throw that he required to put, exactly how far he has to take a run, and where he has to leap and push entire back force, putting it to shoulder and shoulder to that javelin to give a good elevation and to give good speed. So nowadays, people are sitting, coaches are sitting with the technological tools such as mobile and laptop and iPad and something they will keep, and they will be tracking running that he takes place, from where he starts, how he pushes, from where he leaves that javelin. Everything is analyzed using technology, and every time they improvise by analyzing his the complete the run from the start to end of leaving it, and how he should not fall and touch that line. If he touches the line, he will be foul, making foul and losing that entire throw. So they will analyze each and every moment of a person from the start to end to improvise his performance. It's all one some sort of a using the statistical information, how many times he has made a foul, how many no balls he has thrown, in how many matches he has taken 5 wickets haul, how best a batsman has scored, in what sort of situations, foreign and India, in what sort of situations, means who are the fast bowling he's making better runs, or to spin he's doing better, or is he losing wicket to the half spin. Like everything analysis is done based on the the performance, or based on that figures only they will take the decision where to use, when to use, how to improvise. So this is the day-to-day life usage of this statistical information. Here the mix of numerical figures, a mix of some sort of technological tools, they will bring it one sort of a graphical representation. Finally they improvise the performance. So the end result is to improvise the performance and to analyze the exact what has happened, what is happening. They require numerical figures and analyzing that numerical figures in a proper way. So the entire this is the study, a scientific study, comes under a branch of mathematics called statistics. This statistics, again, a mix of two Latin words, status, status of a state. So in Latin means South American, especially when the study took place in South America to analyze how many people are rich and how many people are poor, and politically to whom the can be given a preference of casting and to stand in that elections. Somewhere in 19th century it started. Status of a state. To know the status means present situation of the states in South America. So there, that numerical data that they collected and scientifically what the study they did, the entire process became a new branch of mathematics called statistics. So here, data handling was the chapter we learned, and it is interlinking to another a branch of mathematics called statistics. And in fact, nowadays, how you study physics, chemistry, biology, computer science, mathematics, in fact, statistics itself has become another complete study, like a one branch, one study of a subject. Like mathematics, it has got equal weightage statistics. Why? Because in present day situation, information, along with that information, proper statistical tools to understand the information and to take proper analysis of it, and take proper, after analyzing, proper judgment, hypothesis, and making judgment, and using that judgment in putting across, like improvising our companies, improvising our employees' abilities, and improvising our quality of the product. That entire has become a new deviation. It's become an equivalent to mathematics as subject now, but it's more practical usage subject. People do BSc statistics, MSc statistics, PhD in statistics, like mathematics. It became a big one branch. So there are like good opportunities for data analysts, for data interpreters, for statisticians in in India as well as in abroad, for the study and further practical jobs that they adopt. So it's an interesting branch. In fact, in our days, we had beginning of that somewhere in 1950s, 60s, Indian Institute of Statistical Sciences, IISS, Indian Institute of Statistics, IIS. It started in Calcutta, and one branch is there in Bangalore. And from 1950s, 60s only it started, and in India, and started improvising so much in our day-to-day usage that has come in. So if you see this, it's a very easy chapter. In fact, data handling, while I was teaching in 8th, I made many topics which come under 9th also I covered. So it's just revision. You need to make your brain refresh. That's it. And study well. It's going to be a very useful for you. So the information collected in all such cases is called data. And what is data? How do you define data? A data is a collection of numbers gathered to give information. Data is a collection of numbers gathered to give some information. Okay, this is one important point. I hope it is clear for you. If it is clear, put a thumbs up. That's good. That's good. Let's move on to the next topic. Here, sometimes data is represented graphically to give a clear idea of what it is representing. So data numerically, when it is seen, it definitely makes us to get worried. But the same data given in the form of pictures, that is graphical representation of that same numerical data, makes us to be little at ease with that. So you have already learned in your class 6th pictograph, class 6th only bar graph, class 7th you learned bar graph, double bar graphs, and you learned some more about the bar graphs, and in 8th you have learned pictographs, bar graphs, double bar graphs, further histogram, pie chart, and frequency distribution table giving you frequency polygon. So just one example, we will look into that and quickly we revise our content. So a pictograph, pictorial representation of data using symbols. You know very well about it. Then another, a bar graph, display of information using bars. But bars must be of uniform width and there will be a gap between two consecutive bars. And the gap also must be uniform. That's what we learned in class 7th. But when it comes to the class 9th, we may have different sizes of the bars. Different sizes of the bars. 9th will give that little improvisation compared to 7th and 8th, where bar graphs we learn with the uniform width of the bars. But in class 9th, what we are going to plot bar graphs are going to be with a different width. Why and if the different width is taken, how it changes, that we will learn in our 9th standard in subsequent classes. So you know a bar graph and you have plotted it. Next, double bar graph. What is double bar graph? Double bar graph is some sort of a study between two cases. How? Means, let's say marks of our class students in mathematics and in science, drawn one beside the other. Marks of a student A in science and maths, marks of a student B in maths and science, marks of a student C in maths and science. So two bars will come per student with a gap, where bars of uniform width, both maths and science will be of uniform width, and gaps will also be of the same size. So a bar graph showing two sets of data simultaneously, which means at a time. Why do? We do it for the sake of comparing. How many students are performing far better than mathematics when it comes to the science? How many students are very good in mathematics than in science, or very good in science than in maths? How many students are equally good in both the subjects? So how much is the gap between the knowledge of maths and science to a one person? So some sort of a comparison we do it. So a bar graph showing two sets of data simultaneously means at a time is to compare those data. Is it clear, children? Yeah. Then moving on to these pictographs or bar graphs or double bar graphs, what you have learned, I am taking one by one. First one, pictograph. It is very evidently known to you. I think Pritam Singh Donor is need to require turning off his mic. There is some noise there. Yeah. Now coming down to this pictograph, here one picture of a car represents 100 cars, whereas half may denote 50. But exactly if I want to represent, let's say 273 cars, is it possible to represent that? It is not possible to represent exactly. If I want to represent 273, I cannot represent. It's all approximation. If I say half a car represents 50, little more if I draw, maybe 70, but not exactly 273. So there the pictograph fails in giving us an exact picture of the data. The exact numerical figure cannot be brought as pictures. If at all I want, I have to write, let's say, if a car represents 1, then I have to draw 273 pictures. That's very tough. So there, the disadvantage with the pictograph lies. So here in this question, July 250, August 300, whereas September, how many cars are sold? So in September month, since 4 figures are there, 4 into 100, 400 cars are sold. So this is the study of a pictograph. drawing a pictograph, studying a pictograph. So we have done this in class 6. Coming down to the how many cars were produced in the month of July, 250. How many cars in which month were maximum number of cars produced? Obviously September. And this is how we read the pictograph. Then moving on to the bar graph. Now, number of students in class 8 were in the academic years 2003 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7, 7 to 8, and so on. If you observe, the strength of class 8 is keep increasing. What is the strength of class 8 in 2006 and 7? If someone asks you how to represent, you will observe the bar here, this bar, and you will take the complete this way a mark on or a reading on this axis. What is this axis is called? You know, in Cartesian plane we call it as y-axis. Here we call it as vertical axis. Vertical axis. And normally we will draw bar graphs in two ways. One, vertical bar graphs, which you are seeing is a vertical bar graph. And there are another types of bar graphs called horizontally plotted, where bars are parallel to this horizontal axis. This is horizontal axis. So if bars are parallel to vertical axis, it's called vertical bar graph. If bars are parallel to horizontal axis, then that is called horizontal bar graph. So we draw in two ways. Here in this vertical bar graph, if you want to say how many students are there in the year academic year 2006 and 7, I'll say that it is 300. Okay, 300 students are there because the height of the bar. So because of the height of the bar is 300 mark on vertical bar. So vertical axis, I mean. So, you know, based on the height of the bars, we will say what is the figure, numerical data that bar is representing. Okay. So here on the horizontal axis, we have taken academic years. Sometimes we may take subjects. We may take name of a student, so on. Okay. So here the question number 1. What is the information given by the bar graph? What is the information given by the bar graph here? The strength of the class 8 students. Strength of the class 8 students in a school in the academic years from 2003 to 2008. For this 5 continuous years, it is given. So, reading a bar graph means observing the bar graph and answering questions, which we call interpretation of the bar graph. Interpretation or reading bar graph. Then, like a comprehending, and maybe you might have got in a class 8 or somewhere in class 9 in English language, one passage is given, comprehension passage. Based on that passage, questions are asked down below. You will be answering them. It's called comprehension passage. Similarly here, reading a bar graph. Answering the questions based on that bar graph. Interpretation of bar graph. So question 1, you know, what is the information given by the bar graph? This bar graph gives the information of strength present in class 8 of a school for the 5 academic years from 2003 to 2008. This is the complete sentence. Is it clear to you? Put a thumbs up if you are understanding what I am saying. That's good.
Sir, you can tell once more, sir.
Akash, ನಿನಗೆ ಇದು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋದು ಏನಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಒಂದು ಬಾರ್ ಗ್ರಾಫ್ ಹೇಗೆ ಪ್ಲಾಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಿಂಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. ಆ ಬಾರ್ ಗ್ರಾಫ್ ಅನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ನಾವು ಓದುತ್ತೀವಿ, ಓದದ ನಂತರ ಅದರ ಆಧಾರದ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ಗಳಿಗೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಇದನ್ನು ನಾವು ರೀಡಿಂಗ್ ಎ ಬಾರ್ ಗ್ರಾಫ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಅಥವಾ ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಬಾರ್ ಗ್ರಾಫ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಆಗಿ ನಾನು ನಿಮಗೆ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ 8th or 9th ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಕಾಂಪ್ರಹೆನ್ಷನ್ ಪ್ಯಾಸೇಜ್ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಕಾಂಪ್ರಹೆನ್ಷನ್ ಪ್ಯಾಸೇಜ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಯಾಸೇಜ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದರ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಪಾರ್ಡನ್?
Sir, they tell 100 passages.
ಎಸ್. ಸೊ 100 ಪ್ಯಾಸೇಜಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರಂತೆ. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನು ನೀವು ಓದಿ ಅದರ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ. ಅದೇ ಥರನೇ ನಮ್ಮ ಮ್ಯಾಥಮೆಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಗ್ರಾಫ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಗ್ರಾಫ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ನೀವು ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟ್ ಗ್ರಾಫ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಅಥವಾ ರೀಡ್ ದ ಬಾರ್ ಗ್ರಾಫ್ ಆರ್ ರೀಡ್ ದ ಗ್ರಾಫ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ದ ಫಾಲೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದೇ ಅರ್ಥ. ಓಕೆ, ತಿಳಿತಾ ಆಕಾಶ್? ಓಕೆ, ಯಾ. ಈಗ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಬಾರ್ ಗ್ರಾಫ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಬಾರ್ ಗ್ರಾಫ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್? ನೀನು ಏನ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಈ ಗ್ರಾಫ್ದಿಂದ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೀಯಾ? ಏನು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಈ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್, ಈ ಬಾರ್ ಗ್ರಾಫ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ 1ನೇ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದಟ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಆಸ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಡು ಯು ಸೇ? ದಿಸ್ ಬಾರ್ ಗ್ರಾಫ್ ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಂಗ್ತ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ 8 ಇನ್ 5 academic years from 2003 to 2008 ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು. ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗೋದು. ಸೊ ದೆನ್ ಮೂವಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ಟು ದಿ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ನಂಬರ್ 2, in which year is the increase in the number of students is maximum? ಯಾವ ಸಂವತ್ಸರದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಂಗ್ತ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್?
Sir, 2007 to 2008.
ರಾಂಗ್. ವೇದಾಂತ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಓದು.
Sir, 2003 to 2004 to 2005.
Read once again the question carefully. In which year increase in the number of students is maximum? So increase is maximum.
2004 to 2005.
2004 and 5.
That's what.
2004 to 2005.
So, E gap 100, E gap 100, E gap 100. Increase 100, 100, 100. But whereas here 200 increase. So in which year the increase is maximum? So 2003-04 academic year ದಿಂದ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ 2004-05 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ದೇರ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್. ಸೊ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳುವುದು, ಆದ ನಂತರ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ತಗ್ಗಟ್ಟಾಗಿ ಆ ಗ್ರಾಫ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಕಂಡುಹಿಡಿಯೋದು. ಯಾ ಚಂದ್ರು?
Sir, Vedanta will not understand Kannada, sir.
Oh, Vedant, what I was actually saying is, in which year is the increase in the number of students is maximum? So he's saying increase is maximum only when you observe in the year 2003-04 to 2004-05, there the increase is 200. You need to understand question correctly, then take out of the graph given what is required, what data to be taken is to be observed properly. Then coming to third question, in which year is the number of students maximum? This question is different. In which
2007-8.
Yes, in which year the number of students maximum? Number of students maximum, obviously longest or tallest bar. Tallest bar is 2007-08. How much is the strength? How much is the strength? 50. 350. 350. So here increase is 50-50 and whereas here increase is 100. Okay, got to know. Then last question. State whether true or false for the following statement. The number of students during 2005 and 6 is twice the number of students 2003.
False, sir.
Sir, false.
False.
False,
Why
sir.
false? Because strength of class 8 in 2005 and 6 is 250, whereas strength in the year 2003 and 4 is 100. If you observe, it is 250 is not only twice, it is more than twice. It is 2.5 times. That's why it is false. He says only 2 times, but it is more than 2 times. That is 2.5 times. I hope you have understood this. Then moving on to the double bar graph. What is double bar graph? This is a double bar graph. What is happening here? You are comparing marks obtained by a student, let's say in 8th and in his 7th, in mathematics, in science, in social science, in English, in Hindi. Out of which what you observe? Here, I can say that student is performing same Hindi, no improvement and no decrease, no appreciation, no depreciation. But whereas in English, student performed well in 7th than in 8th.
Sir, depression.
There is little losing of his marks percentage. Whereas in science, there is improvement, but not much. Same way, social science also there is improvement, not much. But when
Sir,
it
maths
comes to the mathematics, there is improvement, but huge difference is there. Getting 30 marks in mathematics in 7th is becoming 60 marks in class 8th. So Bhushan sir is very good teacher. It is vice versa. It is vice versa. 30 in your class 8th and 60 in your class 7th. So I made you to come down rather than increasing. So I'm a very strict and give less marks also. That's obviously this is how you compare, right? This is double comparison. Something like double bar graph helps you in comparing data. Have you understood?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, questions. What is the information given by the double bar graph?
Sir, marks scored by a student in the year 2005-6 and 2006-7.
Very good. Okay. So performance of students in various subjects into academic years from 5, 6, 6, 7. Yeah. Then in which subject has the performance improved the most?
Sir, mathematics.
Good. In which subject has the performance deteriorated, means decreased?
Sir, English.
English. Okay. In which subject is the performance at par?
Sir, Hindi.
That's it. Par means equal. No improvement, no decrease.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's the way of reading. Okay. Then here I am giving you a work to do. You have already done, in fact. Okay. This is the one. Draw an appropriate graph to represent the given information. Which bar graph will you draw? Or will you draw bar graph or pictograph or double bar graph? Which graph will you draw for this?
Bar graph, sir.
Correct. Bar graph. Correct. Then what is the scale that you use? Tell me. On x-axis, will you take numbers, or on y-axis will you take numbers?
Sir, x-axis will take numbers.
So if I take on x-axis the numbers, then it becomes a vertical bar graph.
Sir, on y-axis we'll take numbers and on x-axis
so-
we'll write the months.
Yes. On y-axis, if I take numbers, then it becomes a vertical bar graph. If I take on x-axis numbers, it becomes a horizontal bar graph. Okay? It
Sir,
depends on,
horizontal.
yes. I can draw horizontal also by taking on x-axis numbers. 1 unit equals to 100 watts.
100 watches.
Then on y-axis it becomes months. So if I consider one month, let's say this is July and a gap, August gap, September gap, October again a gap, November and gap, and December. So this is how I take.
We
Now
cannot draw some
we
Sir,
can take
1
even.
minute
Sir, we
100
can
Now,
watches
take
will
on
not.
x-axis 1 unit is
yes,
equal to 200 watches, sir.
Sir, you should take 500 watches. Sir. 1
so
unit
up to
is
you,
equal to
up to you. 100 you take, 500 you take. If I want 500, I have to take see, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I'll go up to here, 15. Correct now? Right? This is a 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, and this is
1000.
1000, 1100, 1200, 1300, 1400, and 1500. And in the month of July, I have sold, we have lagbag, oh, 2500 is there, na?
Yes, sir. So only I was telling 500.
Okay, okay, okay. If that is the case, then I have to
for
have big bar graph.
500 we can draw vertical and horizontal both bar
If you
Yes.
take 500, sir, then it will become.
Yes, that way we can do it. Is it clear? Okay, you know how to draw? This is the work
Yes,
which you can do it. Okay, you can take a screenshot and do it. Next, last question for today. This is the last question. What do you do? What type of graph will you draw for this data?
Double bar graph.
Very good, double bar graph.
double bar graph like for walking one and cycling one.
Correct, correct. So this is another work for you. These two works you do it for today.
Per
Okay.
and scale we can take 5.
Yes, you can take scale. If you want a vertical bar graph, then on y-axis you will be taking numbers. If you want horizontal bar graph, then you will be taking numbers on x-axis. Suppose if I want numbers taken here, 5 children, then I am getting vertical bar graph. Here, name of the school will come on x-axis. So name of the school, A school, B school, C, and a gap. Okay. Oh, sorry. Name of the school nahi hai. Name of the school walking. I have to have a gap. I have to have a gap of here. Let's say a name of a school will come. Okay. Then afterwards, your walking will come, cycling will come, and a gap. Walking, cycling, name of the school B, gap, walking, cycling, and name of the school C. So this way we will have a graphs. Correct now?
Yes, sir.
This becomes 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, and 55. So now Ujjwal, stop mic.
Ujjwal.
So you will have this sort of scale taken and plotting it. Vertical bar graph will come. Okay, these are the two works. With this, we will stop today's class. Okay. First, let me stop the video recording.